thank you for having me. So I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. We'll probably start with the bad news. That's a little bit easier. Something that I want to stick with you throughout this talk and even after is there are no heroes. There's only us. Okay? So what we do with our life and how we empower ourselves, where we put our money, where we put our ideas, and most importantly, our energy, because that is within our lifespan, is the most important and powerful things that we can do. My beef is with chronic disease. My company is BioViva. The biggest chronic disease on the planet so happens to be aging, but I had to learn about that. In 2013, my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And this took a healthy boy who was very vibrant and active into a world of endless insulin injections. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, he had 2 critical lows that could have ended his life. And he had 1 high blood sugar that could have ended him up in a coma. So this disease is with me every day. It's called a chronic disease. And actually, we all are familiar with it, from our aging parents to our grandparents to some of our loved ones. The diseases of childhood are very similar to actually the diseases of aging. And so when I went to look for cures for kids, I actually found that by treating aging individuals, of which we have 100,000 people dying of aging every day, we can actually find cures for kids faster and actually extend our own lifespan as well. So what is time? These are 4 beautiful sisters from the state of Oregon in the United States. And they take a picture together every year, and they've done this for the last 40 years. And here we see them progressing through aging. But aging is the accumulation of damage, and this damage drives the diseases that we die from. Okay? It drives things like cancer and heart disease and COPD. So even though these women are beautiful in the beginning and the end of the process, what's happening to them is not just a process on the outside, it's all the way through. If we look at images of an 87-year-old's brain that doesn't have dementia compared to a 25-year-old's brain, we see massive atrophy and decay. We see decline in function in the liver, and we see kidney failure over time. As a matter of fact, 1 in 6 people will have kidney failure over the age of 60, and 1 in 10 will have Alzheimer's over the age of 65. What is the global disease burden of chronic disease? Well, let's look at where we've been, and so we can understand where we're at now, and we can see how intervention actually helps. In 1900, this is how we died, okay? You can see that about 53% of the population died of infectious disease. But we intervened. We said that we wouldn't stand for this. With the development of antibiotics and immunizations, we radically changed lifespan and health span, nearly tripling it. Today's infectious disease burden is only 3% mortality rate in the population, and that's fantastic news. But now what we have is chronic disease that can last 10 to 15 years of your life. If you want to put things into perspective, we live about 30,000 days, and over 5,000 of those days we will spend in sickness and ill health and rapid decline. That's actually quite a valuable asset to regain those years. If you're questioning whether biological aging is the master disease that's driving the symptoms that we're dying of, I'd like you to just look at this graph. I'd like you to see when the diseases of biological aging increase. By the age of 60, about 40% of the population not only have one of these diseases, but they have 2. By the time you're 85, you have an 80% likelihood of having 2 or more of these diseases. Time is your greatest asset. To spend it doing things that you would love to do, maximizing and increasing it. What is the global burden of aging? By the year 2050, there'll be 2 billion people over the age of 65. And by the year 2020, that's right around the corner, there'll be more people over the age of 65 than under the age of 5. The problem with this is that the 5-year-olds go on to be the carriers of the medical health care burden, the financial problem. Those over 65 become retired and they exit the workforce. In some countries, this is already a massive burden, and one payer is holding up over 10 patients. These are called the trillion-dollar diseases. So right now, if you look at dementia, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and type 2 diabetes, you can see that annually they have a $1 trillion price tag. So the savings to actually slow the processes of aging or reverse it is actually quite astronomical. What is the current state of medicine and how did we get here? So why do we hear about all of these interventions, all of these things in research? You read the newspaper and you'll see that cancer has been cured a multitude of times in mice. We've cured dementia, we've cured heart disease, all in animal models. Well, it turns out that we're working with a very risk-adverse platform, okay? We're looking at a platform that has been set up for small molecules that have a myriad of off-target effects that the new gene and cell therapies don't. And for every 5,000 to 10,000 compounds that come into the initiation stage, there is only one drug that will come to market. So for investors, this is a huge risk, and most people do not like to invest in biotech. As a matter of fact, I spent the last few days talking to people that said, no, 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 not biotech, even though it shows so much promise. And if we actually look at the graph of gene therapies today, we reverse this. We see a few gene therapies entering the market, and there's 8 cures in the pipeline right now, with 3 passed in just the last couple years. Also, the cost of passing a drug has risen just exponentially. So it's over $1 billion to get one drug to market. And so we see now that the development of drugs decreases rapidly. Again, investors don't want to put their money there. And what we see of these drugs is not very promising. The small molecule market is failing. We trust our doctors to give us good drugs, but we're not looking at the real data of the number to treat and the number of harm when we take that. If you look to the right of this graph, you'll see that patients with arthritis, 50% of those patients are taking drugs for no good reason that may have side effects that affect them, but they're not getting the benefit of the drug. Cancer drugs are rated even worse. So the U.S. healthcare system, which is where I'm from, is a very good status of this. We're 5% of the world's population. We take 75% of all the prescription drugs. Yeah, we're the radical Americans. And we have the shortest lifespan of every industrialized country. The shortest. 75% of the prescriptions, and they're not helping. How can we redesign medicine? Number one, we target aging. This is where research is going today. This is what's bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars to companies that have promising therapeutics that are gene and cell technologies that actually deliver treatment to the aging cell, make the cell young again. If we do that, we can target cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease and cancer and the slew of the list that we predominantly die from. We need to develop drugs in a different way, just as I said. If we continue to look for therapeutic interventions that target one disease, we already know we have 30 years proving that we actually can't cure one of these diseases because they're merely symptoms of what's happening at the cellular level. If, in fact, we go after the aging process, we can nail them all nearly, not with one gene, not with one silver bullet, but with a combinatorial therapy that will target these diseases and eradicate them, or at least slow the process. If there's an 81-year-old woman in the room today, and I hope that there is, if we just cured cancer, we would only add 2 years to her life. 2 years because of the other diseases. If we only cured heart disease, we'd add 4 years to her life, and that's it. If we cured diabetes, heart disease, and cancer, we would add 16 years. But if we slow the biological process by about 40%, we add 33 years to her life. She lives younger and more vibrant and healthy. These are the hallmarks of aging. Get a good look at them. This is a very quick presentation. These are the ones that are killing you. It's a slow, a slow process of telomere attrition and stem cell depletion and stem cell exhaustion and the senescent cells building up in your body and nutrient sensing. These are the big killers. These are the things that science is targeting now. So how do we change healthcare? We've developed a program and a platform for essentially sophisticated health investors. These are people that are looking outside the realm of retail health. And our platform expedites drug performance for any company, for any regulatory industry, and for any biotech company that thinks they have a promising drug. Number one, we look at diagnostics. We take the omics on the patient. We do the typical biomarkers that you would get run today, about 6,000 of them, plus additional ones that will prove out in the future. We also run prognostics. Where are you out? How long do we estimate that you could live from this point? And how many healthy years have you had behind you? Then we do personalized gene and cell technology. These are gene therapies, again, that are regenerative. They are telomere lengthening. They are muscle enhancing. They are senescent cell clearing. They are glycation breakers. And then at the end, we follow you for 2 years and run the analysis again. So what is the benefit of this platform? For patients, it's access. We opened our doors about a month ago, and we have loads of patients who want to participate, some who can't afford it, so this is a great area for philanthropy to help those patients afford it. Others who can. They have no other option. They're at the end of life stage. Number two is for investors. We're de-risking. If you've got a drug that you're interested in running, run it through our platform before it goes to the regulatory service. We can slap down what happens in 10 or 20 patients and know if you're behind a winner or a loser. And the last one is for scientists and biotech companies. We're helping them become the rock stars, and instead of a big buyout, them actually having the next big companies, really democratizing what's happening and where the power lies in the progression of these therapeutic developments. Patient Access, our company that does patient access, is an exclusive partner to our company, and their name is Integrative Health Systems. Anyway, I just want to tell you what regenerative medicine is, because I'm not here to sell you on any technology. What gene therapy is and what regenerative medicine is we choose a gene that has restorative and enhancing properties. So it might make you stronger, it might make you faster, or it might help with your cognitive ability. We take a viral vector that can no longer get you sick. We take out its DNA load and we put in the human gene. These cannot replicate, so we have to make a large amount of them. So they can't spread to other people or anything like that. We inject them into your body and they target the tissues that we have made them target. They're basically programmed to target certain cells. Then they release the gene into the cell of interest, and that creates the regeneration in that area of the body. So we have a couple of things, a telomerase inducer and a myostatin inhibitor, and I think point in case probably what was in the introduction of the pamphlets is in 2015, in order to launch the company to prove that these were safe, I took these 2 gene therapies. They target several of the hallmarks of aging. They increased my muscle mass, they drove down my triglycerides and my blood glucose levels, and essentially created a healthier body. Now, I didn't become 20 because we have a ways to go, and we're still looking for that combinatorial therapeutic, but we're working on it as fast as we can. We're also targeting cancer. Anyway, I know that I'm running out of time. The World Health Organization's definition of health is this: health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. I have never been in one room where anyone has raised their hand saying that they actually meet that definition. And our company would like to deliver on that. So thank you so much.